Alright, so we are now back to the Dunrobin Street house, and we're going to draw a very simple site plan. So the intent of a site plan is to show the property line, and then we're going to show the setback. And what a setback is, that the house has to be pushed back so many feet from the edge of the property line. So every city will have different areas, and based on which area you are, you might have different setback requirements. Like in the front yard, you need to push your house back at least 15 feet or 20 feet. In the rear yard, you need to push it back 10 feet. On the side yard, 5 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet. So that's the kind of the research that you would have to do on a project if you're kind of developing a site plan and a design for the house. So you want to show the setback. You also want to show any hardscape and landscape. You want to show any kind of large trees or things that are on the site. You want to show if there's any power poles or utility lines. Yeah, so just kind of basic information as if you were a bird flying over the site, and what would you see, right? So here we're back at the Dunrobin project. You guys have a link to this particular page, and you're basically going to recreate this page. So we're going to start off with a couple of bits of information. You have a lot line, property line. This thing goes 104 feet across from the sidewalk all the way to the rear limits of their property. And then the dimensions for the property line up and down is going to be 51 feet. So I'd recommend first kind of drawing a line that's 104 feet by 51 feet. And we are going to be doing it in 1/8 inch equals a foot. Really important. We're at 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. So I'm going to start my property line somewhere, let's see, here. And I'm going to go 104 feet. So 1/8 of an inch. I don't know if you guys can see it on my scale here. But 1/8 of an inch, the 0 starts at the top. So we're going to be reading the top numbers. So this, from that point to here is 92 feet. And I need 104. So that is 8 and another 12 feet. It's right here. So it seems like I'm going to make it. So my property goes from here to here. I'm actually going to just shift it a little bit. I'm going to go from there just so that I have some room on this side. So I know that's 104 feet. So let me get a longer ruler. And the way how you draw property lines is that's really a long dash, long dot. So that's how you would draw your property line. And it's okay to overlap the property lines quite significantly. So I know my 104 is here. And then my property line coming down is 51. So 51. Here. I'm going to go 51 here. So I'm going to overshoot my line again and give myself a pretty dark dash dot line. So I now have my property line established, and it is 104 feet here. 51. Now I need to locate the house. Before I do that, let's kind of locate some other bits of information that'll help the plan checkers kind of locate the house. So really, which side is the street? Is it here, 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 here? In this particular project, the street is on this side. It's called Dunrobin Street. And if you look at this particular site plan, the property line is here, and the sidewalk where you walk is here. And usually on most neighborhoods, you have the sidewalk and then you have the area where they have grass. So that grass area is called the parkway. Let's see here. And then, of course, the sidewalk is called the sidewalk. And these both things put together is called right of way, because everybody has right of way there. It's a public road or public space, right? So the whole thing is called a right of way, but you can break that down into a parkway and sidewalk. And typically, most scenarios, most cases, these are 5 feet each, typically. So I'm just going to draw some sidewalk and a parkway at 5 feet wide. 5 and 8, 9, 10. So obviously the sidewalk just continues, so I'm going to overshoot my property line. And then the parkway also continues further. There you go. Now, in any given sidewalk, obviously you have the street, and then you have a ramp for a driveway so that the car can drive up. So this is, I'm running out of paper here, but this is the actual street, so I'm going to just go ahead and write Dunrobin Street. Alright guys, I had to change pens. I ran out of ink on the other pen. So you have Dunrobin Street, and if I look at the site plan, from the property line to the nearest wall is about 9'9". So I'm going to first draw a roughly 9'9", because I know that's where my driveway is. So here, 9'9", almost 10 foot. It's really hard to get it at this scale. So I do know that there's a driveway here over the sidewalk, and it goes all the way to the street. And from the street, usually there's a ramp. Oh, and also there's a curb. The curb will turn it around. The curb will be on the inside of the parkway, usually about 5 to 6 inches. And then the ramp has a little apron, faces outwards. So here you go. So the car would come up the ramp and into the driveway. Alright, so now let's locate the house. So on the drawings here, you'll see that the property line to the front edge of the house is 27 foot 11 inches, almost 28. So I'm going to go 27'11". And you know what, I'm going to have to use a pencil. So you first want to take it and just kind of locate the house. I'm going to try to draw it a little bit dark so you can kind of see the line here. So that line represents this line here. And, you know, which is the outline of the house, by the way. And I know that the house is 47 feet 9 inches. Remember our trusty little floor plan here, and we know that the house is 47'9". We're actually drawing it in this view, right? The street's on this side. So from that line, I'm going to go 47'9". So I have that, and then I just have to go up. The house was 19 feet this way, so I'm going to go up 19. And then the house goes 16 feet in, or in this case from here to here, 16 feet in. Stops right there. And then the house goes up 19 foot 3 inches. So you might have to refer back to your floor plan to kind of get all your dimensions. And the house is closed at that line. So I kind of have my, basically my L shape. Right now what I have is that shape kind of laid out. I'm going to do the front here. The front, I do know from the floor plan that it goes up 11 feet and then it comes down 13 feet. So 13, here's my 11. And it does come out 6 foot 3. I'm just using one of my grid line as kind of a guide. So that's the outline of my house, and I'm going to locate the garage. Since we don't have a floor plan for the garage, I'm just going to measure it off of my site plan here, and kind of went over that line, but from the dashed line to dashed line, it seems like the garage is 21 feet away from the building. Come on out here, 21 feet. And the garage is 20 foot long. It's pretty tight to the rear yard setback. And if you look at here, the garage is actually 2 foot in and then 18 foot 2 long. Come in 2 feet. I'm just going to go 18. 18 foot 2 is like almost impossible to do in an 1/8 scale. So I have my house and my garage kind of outlined. So then I'm going to go ahead and put dash lines in them. Actually, the house, this thing actually comes out. I forgot there's a little bay window, so it comes out and it does something like that. Comes back in. I'm just going to free. Okay, so now to the kind of the darkening of all the walls. So since on a site plan you see the roof and you don't see the building outline, you're going to use dash line to represent the building outline. So we're going to just so I don't know if the dash lines are going to show through my camera along with the pencil line, so hopefully you guys can see it. And when you guys are hand drafting, you guys definitely want to make sure that your dash lines are somewhat consistent so that you don't get like a crazy long dash and then a short dash. That try to keep them as uniform as possible. And another trick too is that when you get to the corner, try to make a solid corner, meaning make sure that the dash ends at the corner and then the new dash starts at the corner. So you might, as you get towards your end of your building line, I guess, you might need to kind of adjust the size and spacing just a little bit so you end up right at that corner. Okay, so now I'm all done kind of outlining my building footprint. So now we're going to go ahead and draw our roof outline. So on this particular house, the overhang is 16 inches. So I'm going to measure 1.5 feet, an 1/8 inch scale away from my building. There. So there you go. So I have my roof outline done. So I'm going to go ahead and darken it in so you guys can see it. And I'm going to try to lay down the roof outline fairly dark because in theory that's closest to your eye, right, from this vantage point. So you want to try to like really dig in there and get a dark line. We're almost there, guys. So I have the roof lined up. I'm not going to bother drawing the roof here. It's really the same thing. And we're almost there. To draw the outline of the roof, we need a 45-degree triangle. We don't have one, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to use my grids here and just kind of fake it. So if I look like I'm right at the corner, so if I just go from corner to corner on my grid, I did good. So somewhere here. So I'm going to draw 145 here. Another 45 here. And you guys can just copy my roof plan that I have in front of you guys. So you notice that as soon as I got these two angles to intersect then I get at what we call a ridge, and then where that ridge hits this inside corner, that's where it stops and it goes back. So it just kind of helps me close the gap, if you will. So here I'm going to go from corner to corner and just kind of try to extend that line out, and where this guy and that guy meets, that's a ridge. So I know that the ridge comes down here, and since it hits there, I know that it's going to go back to a 45 this way. And I'm going to stop there because actually the roof kind of kicks back this way again. In this case, it's in the center. You know, the ridge is in the center of these two things, and in this part of the house, there's actually what we call a gable roof, like an A-frame. So it really doesn't have the hip, but I'm going to go ahead and draw the hip so that I can get the center of this rectangle. So that tells me that's the center of this rectangle here, just somewhere like right here. So I'm going to draw a straight line. As soon as that straight line hits, that's where this roof will stop. And these two guys will go up against that. Perfect. And this one actually does have another ridge here. It's kind of a, you know, because this house was an addition, the roof is kind of a little bit of a mess, but I think we can make it work. The roof isn't really quite closing on me, but I think for kind of hand drafting without proper tools, I'll accept it. This thing goes actually all the way. So this line goes away. Okay, so here's your roof plan. We won't do the garage again, and then I like you guys to detail out, you know, all the hardscape. So there's the concrete steps. Steps are usually about a foot deep. And then when things are concrete, usually I like to put little dots on them. I can't see it here. I'm going to give you a fat marker. So those things will represent like kind of concrete when you put a little dot on them. And we also have a concrete driveway here that goes from here to here. So again, you would put little dots. I wish I had a thinner marker, but and you don't have to dot everything, but just to give it a slightly different texture. You want to do that. And if you want to really darken in your roof profile, it'll really make your drawings pop. If you have a little curved walkway, A couple of other things on the site plan. Let's see, if you have trees, you could draw kind of freehand trees. There's usually like a circle, 2 circles, and then kind of I like to draw things like that to represent branches. Could do kind of a squiggly line. Just kind of overlap it to show foliage. Show a little branch. A little bit of texture. Another type of tree is kind of like, you can kind of like do a starburst. Oop, that line's too big. Too long here. So you just start detailing things out. You know, you're going to call it out, existing tree. You can dimension the overhangs, 1'6". You can also dimension to the setback. I forget what that was. Oh, 28.4. And on and on. So I'll be happy with you guys just kind of giving me a pictorial illustration of the site plan. The point is for you guys to continue to measure and draw and kind of measure accurately. So if you guys can get me to this level, it'd be great. And we'll see you guys on the next video.